So in my city, right, there already are cameras, but they're proposing like this big city council meeting was held, and they plan on like expanding the surveillance, right, in the city, like and spending a lot of money and putting cameras everywhere. Now everybody is like up in arms about it. So there's a lot of people that are. I feel like what I've seen, there is a lot of people that are saying like it's an invasion of privacy. It's not. It's against our rights, our civil rights. And then there's a lot of people that are saying like, no, like what are you talking about? Like these are solutions to solving crime. So why are we not with the solutions, right? Why are we not supporting that? Like if y'all want things to change, this is what they're trying to implement, and y'all are turning your nose up at it, and you're denying the impact that it could have. There's nothing wrong with wanting safety, whatever, but we have to tread lightly when we talk about wanting safety because we've already given up a lot of our of our privacy. We've given up a lot of our civil liberties because of fear, right? Like it's fear mongering. Like people might say it's fear mongering to be suspicious of police officers and law enforcement and the government, but it's also fear mongering to take specific isolated incidents and to make a overarching change when it could be some like little changes that take place. But if we're trying to give up a lot to gain a little bit, that's not good, right? So like I said, people are talking about this. People are saying like, yo, these cameras could be go against the Fourth Amendment, um, which is the right against unlawful searches and seizures, right? So basically, yeah, it's it doesn't just pertain to your house, whatever, but like like you shouldn't be unreasonably like we don't live in like I said, we don't live in a police state. We don't have the Gestapo. That's why like stop and frisk is like illegal now, you know what I mean? But like because a lot of times that's against the Fourth Amendment. Like you don't get to like you don't get to search what's in my pockets for no reason. Like you got to have a reason for it, and it can't be because of the color of my skin. You know what I'm saying? So people feel that the cameras invite that. They invite an infringement of the Fourth Amendment. But when I was seeing people arguing, I think a lot of people don't understand the part about the civil rights. They don't understand how making something quote unquote safe could be a violation. So the best example I can give you is the Patriot Act, right? Everybody knows the Patriot Act. So when 9/11 happened, the whole country was in massive fear of another attack, whatever. And what we did was, right, because of fear, and you can believe in conspiracies about 9/11 that like it was our government anyway. You can believe that, right? You can believe it was our government. Um, but what we did overall was that fear, we let our guard down, right? And in the name of safety, what we did was we gave up a lot of our privacy. We gave up a lot of our own rights. And it's things that we complain about today. The things that we complain about today when it comes to our government and law enforcement, it's things that we gave away a long time ago, right? So again, using the example of the Patriot Act. So when the Patriot Act passed, I don't think people like there was always airport security, but I don't think people realized the TSA was created in November of 2001. So the attacks were in September, and in November they created the TSA. So people would argue that like the way we fly today and like some of the measures that they go through, like yes, it is protecting people from terrorism, I guess, or whatever. But like we gave up a lot of our like we gotta take like we had there's a long time we had to take off our shoes and you can't travel with certain amounts of liquid now, right? Whatever because of TSA. Like it was a totally different ball game, and I was too young to fly or to understand what flying was like prior to 9/11. So 9/11, I was 13 years old, but like I don't remember flying nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have no vivid memories of going anywhere. I think I started traveling places like probably when I was like 10th grade actually. But yeah, so So people don't remember that, but the TSA was created by that. Now the NSA, the National Security Agency, that was a thing since the 50s. But what we did was with the Patriot Act, we allowed like the surveillance of like phones and video and stuff like that. We allowed when everybody says like, oh, the government's already listening to your conversations and they can tap into the speakers and they can, tap into the cameras and watch you and stuff like that. That started because of the Patriot Act, right? That started because we were so fearful that we said, go ahead, government, go ahead. No, do your thing, man. Just protect us, protect us. But then they were like, all right, you want us to protect y'all, bro, then you got to give it. It's like we signed terms and conditions for an app, and we didn't read the terms and conditions. And a lot of the terms and conditions, we gave them the permission to do all those things. So we cannot complain about the government listening to our conversations and doing this and whatever. Now, maybe I could complain because I wasn't old enough to vote, but like collectively, the adults are boomers. They cannot complain. Our older generations cannot complain about those things because, and whether or not they knew what was happening, whatever, we gave you elected officials, politicians that didn't explain certain things to you, but you put them in position so they could kind of, you know, make these basically these big brother laws of surveillance or whatever. So like we can't say that, oh, they're already watching us, but then when a local government and a local entity is trying to do something similar, we're just willing to say like, oh, they already doing it. No, we've accepted on a federal level that there's going to be some level of surveillance on us, right? But we say this all the time, that local governments and your communities are way more impactful to your everyday life than the federal government. So, like, why would we give all this power and all this surveillance opportunities and access? Why would we give the to our local governments, right? And I liked a lot of what a lot of people were saying was like you don't realize is like once you start giving up your privacy and your rights and stuff like that, then you don't even own things anymore. The more you give away. So yes, we can argue in the city there might be some bad things going on, but like I think we would rather have community policing to where like there's more de-escalation when it comes to law enforcement and understanding and like building up the community from the ground up as opposed to having police have a bird's eye view of everything that's going on. I would feel more safe if our communities were more built up from the ground and we're working together as opposed to giving the police more control as what they can do. So again, I don't think people realize what they're willing to give up when they are agreeing to certain things. But like overall, I do think that an expansion of surveillance, it can be good, it can be bad. I think what people are worried about, because in this particular instance, I think that the people that are either putting up the cameras or funding the cameras or who have access to the cameras, it's not necessarily just law enforcement. It is these other entities, and then people are concerned. It's like we just all right. If we're gonna agree to this, because we didn't do that good of a job with the Patriot Act, right? But if we are gonna agree to something like this, we want oversight. We want to know who has access to the information or this surveillance. What are they planning on doing with it, right? And then when and where can they utilize this surveillance footage, right? Like it cannot just be in anybody's hands, and it cannot be used with impunity. It got to be used specifically, and there has to be probable cause. I think a lot of people would agree with that. But what do you think, man, just in general about surveillance and privacy and sacrificing your privacy for safety, or and vice versa, sacrificing your safety in order to have more privacy? What do you think about those different things?